Hi, family and friends. I'm currently in Johannesburg, but I thought maybe I should share some of the other areas of Cape Town I also experienced before letting you see what I see in Johannesburg. In Cape Town, there are areas called townships. They also have that in Johannesburg, but I wanted to share the ones I experienced in Cape Town first. Townships are areas where black people were forced by the colonizers to go to when their land was taken over. And the townships, to me, there are definitely places that are more oppressive. They are poorer in nature. The homes are kind of built by the people who are living there. So I'm just going to give you a little peek. And the first place I went to was Langa. And for the sake of privacy, I didn't really take as many pictures and video as I could have, but I just took a few peeks, snippets, so you can get some idea what these people have had to endure. Now, I know in the United States, you're going to be like, hey, we have places that are called projects and poorer areas. And many of these areas are reminiscent of that. But you know what? Some of the areas are much worse than that. And the fact that these people were pushed out into these areas forcibly and were made to live there, it's pretty eye-opening. I'll just put it that way. Of course, our people are always resilient, but the fact that they had to leave their areas, beautiful areas, many of the areas that I showed you, our people used to live there, and they were forced out into the outer skirts of the areas, into what are called townships, and were only allowed back into the city if they had a permit to work. Yeah, that's a lot to take in, but I just thought I would have to show you some of that so you would get the full picture of what I experienced. Now, what you're seeing now, by the way, is another beautiful area. This is Kalk Bay. And you're going to see many of these beautiful areas because these are most of the tourist spots, right? But the funny thing is, you see these beautiful areas and you're thinking, wow, this is just gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, the further out you go, you see these shanty houses again. And you know this is where the black people were forced to go. So yeah, so even when you come to South Africa and you experience the beautiful stuff that tourists are made to experience, you find out the real story. And this is a Red Hill settlement. There's a beautiful young lady who it's actually an Airbnb experience where you're able to firsthand experience what people in a certain area experience. And this is the Red Hill settlement. So as you can see, we're walking up a hill. It's called Red Hill, but you have to walk up this hill. And of course, I'm only showing a small part. So we're getting to one part of the hill and we're going up and we're like, oh, it's almost over. And then actually, when we get there, there is a road. But guess what? The road is also ascending. So you're still climbing the road to get to where this settlement is, where these people have been forced to go. And oh, by the way, they're being forced to move from there also, because the person who owns the land, who is a white person, is forcing them to move once again. So the young lady who's letting us experience this firsthand, she's partaking of this. And she's giving these tours because she is saving money to build a home for her family. Now, these are the shanty homes. We're at the top of the hill. And you can see they're made of tin. Many of them have rocks on top of them to give them a little more security. But as you can see, it's not an easy way to live. But she allowed us to take a little video and see this. And we finally got to the section that we were looking for, section C, 222. That's why that's on the side of that building. And we had a little more walking to do. But you know what? We are still resilient because this young lady who's giving this tour, she's standing out on I guess you can call it a porch. It's where the kids come and lay out and they play when they're coming from daycare. Oh, and this is a church, by the way, that's in this area. In this settlement that's not well developed, but they have schools for the children and they also have a church because these people have built that. And this is the home that we have come to see. Now, for the sake of privacy, I'm not going to show pictures inside the home. Hey, if you ever come to South Africa, look up Evie, do the Airbnb tour. But this young lady is amazing. She's saving money. The money she gets from this, she's saving it to build a home for her family. She didn't sound downtrodden, but you could see that the circumstances that she was living in were not that great. But I just thought maybe I should show you the other half of what we experienced in South Africa. This is a slave lodge, by the way. Now, I found this quite interesting. As you can see by the map, the slave lodge kind of focused on the slave trade around Africa, but then to the east. This particular slave lodge didn't really focus as much on the Atlantic slave trade, which would affect, the slaves that were brought to the United States, but it was still quite interesting. And let's just say vivid. Some of the things would really catch you off guard, like the shackles. And this area is meant to give you an idea of what it would be like to be in the hull of a ship with ropes, with just being in the bow, I guess, of a ship. Needless to say, I didn't stay in this very long. Nah, didn't like it at all, but that's basically what it was. And also, in Capetown, you would definitely want to go to Robben Island, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned. But it was closed. It was closed. But hey, I just wanted you all to be able to see some of the other side of what we experienced. So next, on to Johannesburg.